Got your train coming. Well, this is Ludlow, California. I got an aunt and an uncle that are buried out not too far from here. So I come out, work out here a good portion of the year. Just putting stuff up.
I would say that everyone's influenced by Craig. Anyone that came after him in surfing and skateboarding culture and to some extent graffiti into the arts, Craig set the stage for them to be creative.
Craig Stecyk is a seminal figure in the surf and skate worlds as a writer, as a photographer, as an artist, as an anthropologist.
There's something really genuine in those pictures. He was part of it, and magically he was great at photography and documenting all this.
He's an intangible voice of self-expression. He doesn't seem to be definable in many ways. It's kind of almost like folkloric. I can't even understand what he says most of the time. The way he expresses himself is sort of beat, punk beat poetry.
He's a little bit of everything. I think his main characteristic is he's Mr. Mysterioso. I think he tries to keep a persona of really not letting you know who he is.
Beautification project here. Ah, I don't do that many interviews. Yeah, I would have a. I don't do enough interviews. I don't know. I don't pay any attention to that shit. I grew up where the main street of America dead-ended into the grimy, briny abyss of the Pacific. So, and if I went back upriver, if I backtracked it, I went down Route 66 to the source, which was back in Chicago. I'd encounter a lot of desert. Desert always made sense to me because it was like low tide where I lived, which is the beach. Nothing but sand, nothing but opportunity, no structure, make anything you want to make out of anything, and it would all be blown to bits. But you know, for art, it makes a lot of sense to make art in an environment like that. There aren't any limits, physically or conceptually, to what you can do out there. My father did a lot of promotional business, so he constantly was going down to Colby Poster and getting posters made. So I started out drawing on the back of my father's posters and taking other ones down on the roadway and drawing all over them and putting them back up.
Initially, when we spoke with Craig, was about, you know, showing his photography and things like this, and he could have cashed in and made a fortune out of it. I mean, Craig doesn't care. He just doesn't give a shit. You know, it's pretty amazing.
I think he just wants to create art, and for some reason, you know, he's got all the touchstones: photography, writing, you know, whatever he can do. That's kind of what becomes his art.
He's playing with tons of boundaries all over the place, like fucking bronzing roadkill and shit. Like, what the fuck, you know? Pulling over and having like a little bronze factory in the back of your car and then like going for it right there on the side of the road. It's just like that real nucleus of like inventing as you go is really from skateboarding, you know?
Why would you make a print and put it in the middle of the desert? You know, you can go to the Vatican and you can look at the Sistine Chapel ceiling, and it's an amazing piece of human enterprise. And you can go out and do the same painting on a rock in the middle of the Mojave, and no one will ever get to see it. I don't know that that means that it's better or it's worse, because, you know, the Pope charges admission, it's a good thing, but if nobody charges you anything, what's wrong with that?
People get really big if they follow a very specific, specific route, like really known for this, really known for his black and white photography. But as soon as he does that, then he does a bit of film, or then he does screen printing, or then he does, so. And what's amazing is that he continues to be relevant to all generations. He's like indefinably, authentically relevant.
I was doing a show at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles, and I had bought a specific press you know, an old press, not made like any of the rest of them, but it was the right size and format that I could do 14 by 22 show cards. And I was going to print them, had the people that came to the Museum of Contemporary Art exhibition that I did, which was an installation piece, and I was going to print them on site. By the time it showed up on a truck at Suzanne Melanie Berry's studio, she was adroit enough to realize she needed a forklift to get it off. And she called Ryan Hurley, who said he had plenty of space.
So I go, I don't, where are you proposing to put this press? He goes, well, at the house. There's no room at the house. Our garage looks like this. You open up the door, and to even get inside the garage, you have to take a bunch of stuff out to get in there. Because he just opens the door and puts it in, and then tries to close the door. And then the next piece comes, and he opens it up, and he puts it up over here. Next thing you know, you have a wall. So anyways, he's been doing a lot of work at Hurley, and I knew they had an empty room. So I had the press rerouted from our house down to Costa Mesa, and at first we figured, you know, Craig could work there after hours and on the weekend. So they started having other people come over and work after hours and make prints together. Well, one of his cohorts, JP Olson, come to find out, had studied printing in Arizona. Like, that was his major. So he started working in the print room with Craig. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and it grew into this thing where they started filling up the inside of this room with all the prints they had made. And it started because there was not enough room here for that printing press.
How often do you come down here and make stuff?
Well, whenever I'm here, I don't know. If I were someplace else, I might be there too. You know. The posters on the wall are hand painted, some are screen printed. We do etching, letterpress. We put a lot of different mediums together on a single poster. So we like to fail, we like to screw up, we like to improvise, we like to get to do things over because we messed it up the first time. And this is our guest today.
What's going on in here?
Bob Hurley has no agenda, as you can see from his hat.
Oh yeah, agenda. What are you guys doing? I thought John was doing something.
He is, he's with you.
Oh, he is? He was? And we got to thank him at the town hall meeting for endorsing our brand. Well, it used to be...
Is he affiliated with your brand?
Yeah, but it used to be the other way around, where companies hired and made athletes. That doesn't happen anymore. Now the athlete endorses the brand.
It works better that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go find him. If you guys need him? Anyone need John? Yeah.
Bob works for all of us.
I think it's one of the things why Craig agreed to work there is because him and Bob share this affinity for having an idea and letting it grow and expand and like just making stoke, you know?
I've known Bob through surfboard shaping for, decades, and you would always see him early. So whenever I come through town at 5 in the morning, his light would be on, and I'd go have coffee and talk to him. And that was just hanging out. That's how stuff happens. I don't go there with any set specific ritual. I've never been told to do anything. I've never been told I could not do anything. So, that's pretty much like every day of your life. If you realize it, you're where you want to be because that's what you want to do.
The idea of working with Craig on doing printmaking was kind of like a dream come true, I think one of the first prints that we made was like a piece of a house that he had pulled from like the rubble of like Bunker Hill or something, I don't know. I think we were using like this press at the time. Totally not what it's for. So that was kind of like my introduction to printmaking with Craig. It was just like breaking all the rules.
The number 6 is, for some people, reminiscent of the number 9, but we're not sure how that works.
All right, you guys want to do this here or in there?
We're going to switch this out and use one poster so they can shoot us screening it without anybody.
Found it.
Is that all right?
I'm just here for the day, or I was here yesterday too, just doing some things, check in. I've known Craig for a while now. It's been really cool working with him and JP, and it's cool, they just let their mind go wild and just create the most insane things, and it's really fun to watch and be a part of. I think we need more ink.
I don't think that we do. I think that we need...
I think you're scared.
I am scared.
I've known John since he was born. He grew up on a beach that I frequented, and my friend Dibby Fletcher and Herbie Fletcher had a grandson that was about the same age as John Grayson, and we watched them all grow up. And if you have interests in common, you end up hanging out. John and I have an affliction for German photographic equipment. John inaugurated this darkroom about a year ago, and he stayed with us for 3 months, and no one knew he was here the whole time. He was hiding out in this room making pictures.
Was it just coincidence that you guys were both shooting on Leicas, or did you get into it through Craig, John?
Kind of coincidence.
I left the camera at his mom's house years ago when Jay Adams was staying there. So, you know, I'd like to think we influenced it.
You can't hold on to anything about him because he doesn't want you to hold on to it. I don't think he really wants people to actually know the full breadth of anything because that's just not how he rolls. He's a legend.
Craig bridged these worlds that seemed disparate. I mean, surfing and skating, obviously, and then fine art, you know? You could find people who are important figures in each of those worlds, but none that sort of overlapped all of them, and that's what makes him a standalone character.
There's a sense of possibility in the desert, and you can't escape it. And might be your future, it might be your past sneaking up on you. If you sit there long enough, you'll become dehydrated and start hallucinating, and then everything starts coming together and reconfiguring itself for you. And it's a maddening endeavor, and some people don't come back from it. I've been lucky. No place better than a place where nobody is. There's nothing wrong with going to the place where nobody's trying to get to. So you're sitting out there by yourself. You can do whatever you want to do, make whatever you want to make out of it. Kind of never get found again. People are about 70% water, so I guess going to the desert, it all reverts to the, into the sand anyway, if you sit there long enough. So the trick is to keep moving, make something different out of it, and get out of there, go on and do something next.